one thing that I wanted to share, and this is one of the probably frequently asked from the community, is around how you build. You've got Copilot, Chat Copilot reference application, and how do you actually come up with a kind of the right architectures or the right other supplementing services or supported services in order for you to build Copilot using Semantic Kernel. The Chat Copilot is great, so it's actually giving you the application sample, but as an overall architecture, is basically a sample of that of how you could leverage Semantic Kernel. In this case, using Azure. As you can see, there's the orchestration API that there's basically two parts of this. This is starting from kind of the front end users where it accesses your Copilot application, whatever that might be, and then it's being basically filtered using API management for management of your APIs, and you expose the orchestration API in there, and you have just Semantic Kernel, the planners and so on within that, and then you also have plugins within that orchestration API that you could build as a function add, for example, right? And in this case, you can use a number of databases. So you can have different data sources. You can have cognitive search. You can also have Cosmos DB as well for the embeddings, and you can use pgFactor, for example, with Cosmos DB. And also you have cognitive search for document memory. So you can actually leverage different data sources that you can integrate to that orchestration API. So it comes down to your requirements on that. And then in this case, you've got a batch data pipeline where it has a number of services in here. It might be that you're leveraging Azure ML that you have kind of for example, you have your own sort of LLM that you kind of build or small LM, and you leverage the services and all of these data that's being searched or being retrieved are then being exposed to the orchestration API. So that was pretty much kind of the idea. The batch data pipeline can be anything, as in like, it's just an example of that, but you can have a different thing, or you can even use straight away, like in this case, using Azure OpenAI service that doesn't need all of these various data processing or data pipeline. So yeah, so this is useful for internal sort of knowledge mining. So I think the other day we had a demo from Jim on that, or you can integrate it with your internal systems and making it overall architecture of your Copilot, build your own Copilot sort of environment. Cool. Any questions or thoughts on that from this diagram? Does that sort of rhyme with you? Is that something that you thinking of doing within your company? Right. Yes, I just mentioned, yeah, the container apps as well.
Yeah, I think I was just going to comment on that, DSR. Like it's a bit tricky, the Chat Copilot app that I've been playing with, because I think if I was to go in, I would do whatever I had to do to make it easy for the team, or make it really transparent and easy to actually develop on, because there's like the Chat Copilot app. Yeah, it's great, but it's not with the way that it's kind of built with the the React app, and it's kind of stuffed inside the other one, and it's not kind of it was like componentized and everyone wasn't running over each other. Like, I'd hate to go and work on that with like a team. It'd be really interesting. So I think you want to just focus on making it really really kind of pragmatic and easy for everyone to kind of work on it. Whatever's simple for the team, I reckon, is the best way, because look how many lines are on this. It's like you want to make it as easy to maintain.
Well, the question I'd have, and I would consider, is this orchestration API is the core of your product or platform. If that's not working, or if that's doing the wrong thing, or if it's not scaling, that's where things are, everything stops, right? And I would say a lot of work needs to be done to work out how that's going to scale, and B, because you're going to have a lot of plans that might take time to execute. So you may look at something like durable functions, or you may look at something that can orchestrate those longer running tasks where there's not actually a lot happening. You're waiting for the plan to come back. You don't want to end up in a situation where that's not doing what it's doing. So I think, although that's a orchestration API is just a nice little box, there's actually a lot of machinery that has to work really well in there. So yeah, that would be my call out, and that's where I'm looking at, where the things I'm building for myself is focusing on how do I make that really resilient, how do I make that so that it 100 blocking calls don't stop the whole application, bring the whole application to a halt, because you've got a whole bunch of long running plans waiting for the model. Also, the other thing we need to think about is, there's going to be a model plugged in. There's going to be not just one model plugged into this. There could be many models. How are you managing things like tokens coming out of this? There's also needs to be a little bit more of a mention on monitoring and logging and analytics for this, so that you can actually diagnose problems. It's kind of mentioned in App Insights, but I think a little bit, that would be my thinking. That would be where I'd be looking at doing stuff with.
Yeah, I think that if you get stuff out of like prompt flow and stuff about your the performance of your your prompts, and I think I've seen some other great repos where people have put in like kind of cost analysis or cost tracking stuff, like basically how many tokens a question an agent is using, and basically this is how much it just cost you to ask that question, because that stuff's going to get really kind of important when you when you really start to scale up.
Yeah, thanks for that. It is a sample. It's probably something that will evolve. However, we basically zoom out from all of the various implementation that will change in V1. There's beta 8 now, which is very close to kind of the release of V1. But overall architecture should kind of be the same overall if you want to leverage something like SK or any other frameworks for that matter.